Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show here on STV. The main talking points on tonight's programme. It's a winning start for Scotland in Malta in the World Cup qualifiers. Lionel Messi could miss Barcelona's opening Champions League fixture against Celtic in the Nou Camp. We will look back at the weekend's Iron Brew Cup results and we'll bring you the first round of the William Hill Scottish Cup draw. That's all to look forward to in the company of Alan Ruff, and our boot-room guest, I'm delighted to say, is Mark Guidi. So, Ruffy, 5-1, it's a good win, even though they were down to 9 men.
Yeah, I think all we were looking for was 3 points. I didn't go along with a 1-0 would be a great result. I mean, this team had only won 2 games in 92, which says they're not a great side, but we've got the 3 points. There was a lot of pluses, there was a lot of negatives in the game. Not so many negatives, but I thought the first half was poor, and it reminded me, it gave me a flashback to 1978, about a minute before half time. I don't know if you went to the Scotland dugout and Gordon Strachan had his head in his hands at one each, and I remember Alan McLeod being in the same circumstance, and I think Gordon for a split moment there thought that this was going to be a nightmare, but fortunately in the second half we got a few breaks along the way and we took them, and we won comfortably.
Yeah, quite happy with a jammy goal to start us off, Mark Guidi. And then, as Ruffy mentioned there, when Effiong scored the equaliser, I thought, surely not again.
I didn't think Scotland would lose the game at any point, Peter, but I did think they might drop points, but credit to them. It was important to get a victory, opening game of the campaign. It sets the tempo, and I have to, had it been anything other than a victory last night, then I would rule Scotland out, and it would be the same for their next game as Lithuania at home at Hampden. That's a must-win game. They must win every game at home and take a point off England at Hampden to have any chance of finishing in the second spot to have a crack at the playoff.
Yeah, as far as the game was concerned, Ruffy, and the overall play, you mentioned there were positives. One of the positives was the Ukrainian referee, Yevgeny Aronovsky. I mean, I'm almost certain he would have had some protection to get him out of Malta, because I thought one of the red cards, the penalty, was rather fortuitous for us, to say the least.
Yeah, it was one of these ones, that it's easier to make a decision second time, third time, fourth time you see it. Unfortunately, he's only got one decision. When it came across the box, it looked as if the defender had maybe clipped his heels, but as we saw later on, he was nowhere near him. So if you're a Malta supporter, you're disappointed. You've lost a penalty when you're still in the game at 2-1. You've lost a man. And it just went downhill for them.
Yeah, delighted for Robert Snodgrass, Mark. It's been a long road back from injury. Took his other goals well, and I think everybody was delighted that he got the hat-trick and, of course, eventually the match ball.
Yeah, really pleased for him. As you say, Peter, he's had a tough time the past couple of years. Again, what he displayed last night, he has the temperament and the ability to play for Scotland, a certain starter. He is a proper Premiership, English Premier League player, and we don't have many of them, so Snodgrass, it's great that we now have him available. First goal, a bit jammy, but you'll take it, and good for him to get a hat-trick.
What did you make of Burke, Ruffy? I thought his pace, he looked as if he could be a real star for us.
Yeah, early on, he looked the part. Obviously, like anybody, you need 4 or 5 games under your belt to get the confidence to do what you're best at, but he showed in glimpses that he's got something. It's where to play him, to find a place for him, but certainly no, it's definite, and all credit to Gordon for throwing him in. I think we'd all been saying, let's freshen it up, and sometimes the manager goes the other way, but he didn't. He believed that the young boy had the confidence to go in there and show us what he could do.
Mark, you mentioned Lithuania and of course Slovakia, which will be tough on the evidence of watching England take them on yesterday as well. Would you tweak too many positions in that Scotland lineup that started? It looked like a 4-2-3-1 when it kicked off. Is there anyone that you would maybe look at to add to it and take one out?
Oh, you'd look at, obviously, Alan Hutton maybe getting back in at right back, see how Akechi Anya does for Derby County. Now he'll be getting regular football. Lee Griffiths, how he's doing, and of course, as mentioned, Oliver Burke, how he settles in at Leipzig. In the Bundesliga, I agree with Ruffy 100%. It's where do you play Oliver Burke? Where is his best position? There's no doubt he's a talent. I can see why the comparisons are made to Gareth Bale. Absolutely see why. And it was also important that he played yesterday, Peter, because I believe that Sam Allardyce might have just looked at exercising the option of bringing him into the England fold, because that was his first competitive game for Scotland. So that puts that to bed. But like we were saying about Robert Snodgrass, Oliver Burke looks like a proper player.
Yeah, no disrespect to. I mean, I thought Bannon was the outstanding player on the park, Raffia. You know, he displayed a brilliant range of passing. But Burke is one of those players as well that I think could easily go as the lone striker if you have a team like England that you're going to have to sit in and you're going to try and hit them on a counter.
Yeah, I don't know if it may be a bit early for that game for him. You know, I would like to see him maybe with 5 or 6 games under his belt, maybe a couple of goals to his name, and then throw him into a game like that to be the main guy. You know, I think playing off somebody, he looks as if he's got the power, the strength. You know, once he gets turning, running at people, I think maybe just playing off a striker might be his best bet. And Gordon's always said that there's an 11 for at home and there's an 11 for away. You know, and I think at home, I think he could be a right good player for us.
OK, let's look at others in the group. Was the 2-2 draw between Lithuania and Slovenia good for us, Mark?
I think so, yeah. If they're dropping points, I think it was a really good day. Peter, we're top of the section. I think we wanted England to beat Slovakia, and the other two dropping points doesn't do us any harm at all.
Yeah, it's such a great group there, Ruffy. Wouldn't it be great if we got to October of 2017 and that's how it still looked?
Well, I mean, we've all been there before, and I think we all can certainly say that it'll be October the 8th. We'll be looking at the last game to decide where we're going to go, as it usually is every time we go into a competition. But the last 2 games this time don't look as hard as what they usually are.
Yeah, I was listening to Harry Redknapp this morning, and he doesn't think England will lose a game in this group.
He may well be right. On the evidence of yesterday's performance, they've got a bit to go. I think we're still suffering a little bit of a hangover from the Euros in the summer. But if Scotland, if we do have 7 points, Peter, going to Wembley, so if we beat Lithuania at home, sneak a draw in Slovakia, if we go to Wembley 7 points, I can see Scotland getting a point at Wembley. England are formidable, great players, hundreds of millions of pounds worth of talent, but to me, they don't look like a proper unit. You know, they don't perform well as a team. I think there's wee holes there.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to fall into that trap of being overly patriotic and saying that, you know, England are no great shakes. But I have to be honest with you, Ruffy. I think a lot of players are overrated. I think the evidence backs it up when you consider, you know, they might be superb, 13 straight wins in qualifiers, but when it comes to the big tournaments, they just fall flat because I just don't think, I don't think they know the system. I think there's always this constant criticism of some of their most gifted players. I mean, Rooney is by far one of their most gifted players. You can pick a pass that some could only dream of.
Yeah, my main problem would be if they get into any kind of momentum, you know, and we all know that the English press love having a go at them. You know, that's what we need going into that game when we play them. But if they were to go on a run, you know, with the players that they've got and everybody's right behind them, I think they are quite a good side, Peter. I think they've got young players in there who we know their quality, but they're still a wee bit apprehensive. We're not seeing the best of them yet. You know, I just feel if they got on a run and started playing well, I think you'll see a right good side. But the thing for me is they've just got 2 ordinary centre halves, you know, Cahill and Stones, so they could be got at.
One thing I found bizarre, Pete, I don't know if did you see Sam Allardyce's press conference after the game? His press conference.
No, missed it.
Bizarre. His quotes are basically, Wayne Rooney can play where he wants.
Yes.
Can do what he wants because he's a player of international experience, and I've got no experience in international management. So who am I to tell him? And I just found that whole press conference from a manager of England bizarre, and that's something I think to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that, only on the basis that I think I remember, you know, Graham Souness signing for Liverpool, and you know, he did mention to Bob Paisley, "What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to play?" And he says, "If I've got to tell you where to play in this team, son, I've signed the wrong guy, Ruffy." You know, there are some players that just know they've got the ability, they can go out there, they can do it, they can read the game, they can make decisions on the park without somebody constantly cajoling them and offering them direction.
The thing about it, everybody keeps raving about him. We know he's a quality player, but I can't remember, correct me if I'm wrong, I can't remember a game when he's actually won it single-handedly. He's now playing in a position where he's just making 10, 15-yard passes. You know, he's not like scoring the goals the way he used to, the fantastic goals he used to score.
Yeah.
Sorry, just on that point, a stat on him from the game. He didn't touch the ball once in the opposition penalty box yesterday.
Yeah, okay. And if you can allow me one little moment of patriotism, long may that continue. Anyway, on that note, let's hope Scotland continue in the same vein when we face Lithuania. We're going to talk cup draws coming up next after the break. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. Mark Guidi is our bookroom guest on this Monday night programme. And from international games, let's look at one of the friendlies over the weekend that involved Rangers. They were over in Northern Ireland taking on Linfield ahead of the build-up, which undoubtedly will gather pace the closer we get to Saturday at noon, Ruffy. But it was a 7-0 win. Kenny Miller getting 4 goals. In the end, Nico Kranjčar, I think, scored the peach of them all.
Yeah, I think that game was all about getting everybody some game time. You know, obviously Wycorn being out for a wee while there, seeing what he can do. The new boy coming in, give him a bit of confidence. The centre half. It just, if you look at the game, you know, everybody played some part. You know, I think one of the guys went off and come back on again, believe it or not, because it was a friendly. But no, the goals, the confidence, as you say, it'll give the manager an idea of who's 100% fit, the system he wants to play, who he wants to play, and just for the game coming up, as you say, it'll start to build up this week.
Yeah, how do you view this one as far as strength and as far as a competition is concerned, Mark?
The fixture on Saturday, I think Celtic go into it, I would say strong favourites. They're at home, they're a great attacking threat, and I think Rangers are still kind of searching for a balance. I'll be interested to see what midfield Matt Warburton decides to go with. He's got options there. Is Joey Barton an absolute stick-on to start the game? Well, on form, he shouldn't be, but he probably will. Otherwise you might create a problem if you don't start the game with him. But I think it was a good result for Rangers on Saturday. The key point was getting Philip Senderos 58, 59 minutes under his belt. I think he will start the game, Peter, and it's who goes alongside him. Danny Wilson, Kiernan,
Clint Hill.
I think that I think he might go with Kiernan, but maybe Wilson offers a better balance.
Ruffy, would you throw Martin Wycorn in? Well,
obviously, we're not in a sanctum of how fit he is. I know he got a bit. Don't know how he was after the game. You know, I think it'll all be. Do they assess him? You know, his fitness. Would they get 60 minutes out of him? Would it be worthwhile getting 60 minutes out of him? He's certainly a goal scorer. Again, you know, they've got options there as well. But I think the Rangers' formation would be more of a defensively set up, you know, to sort of stop the pace of Celtic coming at them. So I think he'll play a part somewhere, but I don't know if he'll be at the start.
Yeah. Okay, we will continue that build up and hear from a few former Old Firm players as we get closer to Saturday. Of course, Champions League on the horizon. Rafi, we'll be off on our travels to Barcelona with the show next week, and I think Celtic fans might be jumping for joy at the possibility of Lionel Messi not being in the Barcelona starting lineup. He's got a slight groin problem.
Yeah, I think from the footballing sense, that'd be a disappointment. You know, you want to see the best players on the park. You want to see the ability that he's got and the things he can do, you know, so you can go away and talk about it. But certainly, from Celtic's point of view, they would rather he wasn't on the park, because at this moment in time, he's the man who's making them tick. And but I'm sure they'll have somebody else up their sleeve that's maybe not as good as, but not far away.
Yeah, be nice to see him in the stand, Mark.
Yeah, along with 14 or 15 of his teammates. Yeah. I'll give Celtic a good chance.
You could probably score for there.
Robbie, you're not wrong. Okay, let's switch our attention to some of the results over the weekend in the Iron Brew Cup. Here are the results from the weekend's matches. Of course, some of them going to extra time. St Mirren just edging it against Albion Rovers. Good win for Dunfermline. We'll talk about one of their signings in a moment. Of course, Dundee United after extra time against a former United hero, Jim McInally, now the manager of Peterhead. An emphatic victory for Falkirk, and a close one there. I don't think too many people would have predicted for edging out Wraith Rovers. And the other results from the weekend, including Hibs at Turf United getting a good 3-0 win, and Neil Lennon singing the praises of Fraser Murray, one of his youngsters, coming through and getting a chance to show what he can do as well. And Livingston giving Celtic's Colts a thrashing 5-1 in the Saturday match. Of course, that's what Hibs fans want to hear, Ruffy, is the manager blooding some youngsters and ones that they hope can come from the academy through.
Yeah, it was an ideal opportunity to go up there and give them a chance. You know, what we saw a couple of years ago, there was a couple of young ones broke through, but never the boy Harris, never stood there, the wee boy Stanton. Looked as if they were going to be players of the future, but certainly it's good to have academy players coming up there and getting a chance, and obviously the win will do them good, and hopefully he'll play them in the rest of the games.
Yeah, well, I mentioned that there were a few teams with players that have been recruited. One of them, of course, is Dunfermline. They have signed Farid El Alagui, who was at Hibs. He could be a good signing for them. I think he'll score at that level. Just didn't work out for him for injuries at Easter Road.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Peter. I think he's a talented striker, but he just didn't get a chance to put a run of games together because of injury. But he's certainly been an asset, a good signing for Dunfermline. They've also got Nicky Clark in as well, so that's aiming towards them making a push for to cement a playoff place.
Yeah, and one man I'm delighted to see back in Scottish football, he signed a 2-year contract at Dundee, is Tom Haitley, who will fill that right back role for them, possibly even in midfield. He's capable of that too, Ruffy.
Yeah, well, obviously Paul's convinced them that this is the place to be. We were led to believe there were 2 or 3 clubs interested in him. Obviously, it's always good when that happens, but no, I think Dundee would be a good place to go to. They play good football, and the crowds are building up and up. So yeah, I think he'll do well there. And
100 yards up the road, Tony Andrew at Dundee United. I think a number of United players were surprised that they managed to get him on loan from Norwich.
Yeah, it was 6 or 7 clubs in from up here, Peter, and a couple of options down the road. Talented player when he was at Hamilton Accies, £1 million move to Norwich. A couple of loan deals. He was at Rotherham last season, so he'll be a big asset to Ray McKinnon, and they need somebody to kickstart them because by their standards they've had a poor start. And I think Tony Andrew provides that quality for them.
Yep, I'll tell you another team, Ruffy, that has caught my eye. We saw the result at the weekend. It featured Conrad Ballatoni. He moved from Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock let him leave on a free. Signs up for Ian McCall. He's starting to just add more than a few players as if they mean business in this division. Yeah,
well, he was one of the players that was going to decide to apply his trade abroad. It never worked out, and obviously he ended up at Kilmarnock Ayr, and I think all the experience in the world at Partick Thistle. You know, he was good at the back, he was solid. So no, I think Ayr United will get a lot out of him.
Always helps, Mark, if you join one of the what you would call an Ayrshire derby rival. Always helps if you score a winner in your first match.
Yeah, no half. Conor Ballatoni, just another victim of Lee Clark wanting to just pretty much gut the place at Rugby Park, and I think he's a boy that deserves first team football. Ian McCall needs experienced players, and he'll do well at Somerset.
Okay, earlier today, the draw for the first round of the William Hill Scottish Cup was made. Here are the ties. And Turf United will play Bonnyrigg Rose, Leith Athletic, Cumbernauld Colts, Fort William Brora Rangers. As you can see, some cracking names involved in the first round here. Forest Mechanics, Lossiemouth, East Kilbride, Vale of Leithen, BSC Glasgow against Rothes, Devon Vale against Gretna 2008. That's a long one to sing a song to. Keith against Bankside, Edinburgh University against Whitehill Welfare, Gallifreydine Rovers against Fraserburgh, Beath Juniors are Auchinleck Talbot against Strathspey, Civil Service Strollers Hoyt Royal Albert, Nairn County Preston Athletic, Inverurie Local Works against Buckie Thistle, Clacknacuddin against University of Stirling, Dalbeattie Star and Wick Academy, Selkirk versus Linlithgow Rose, and Girvan against Huntly. So there you are, some good old names involved in that first round, Ruffy.
Yep, I always take a big interest in the juniors. I like to see them going quite far, and obviously the aim is to get in to the big round and trying to get a fantastic draw. I'm sure they would all like a Rangers or a Celtic or an Aberdeen, and that's what their objective to be. But certainly the one that sticks out for me is obviously Beath and Auchinleck, who drew at the weekend. So that'll be a big replay, a big crowd at that as well, with obviously incentive to move on.
Yeah, hard to believe it that Gretna, the original Gretna, made it to the Scottish Cup final, and now you've got Gretna 2008 there.
Yeah, and lost in penalty kicks to Hearts. So yeah, Gretna 2008, some cracking ties. Girvan against Huntly, Leith against Cumbernauld, East Kilbride against Fairleithen, BSC against Ross. So yeah, a few good ties in there, Peter.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, you can interact with us and give us your thoughts on the Scottish Cup draw, or indeed Scotland's performance against Malta, at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and Facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy, and we'll read out a few of your messages on tomorrow night. You can also give us your thoughts on the forthcoming Old Firm fixture. Thanks very much to Mark Guidi for joining us here in the programme. From Ruffy and myself, join us tomorrow night at 7 if you can. Good night.